I wanted to share a little bit of an intuitive message, I guess, that I got really early this morning and have been continuing to get some more thoughts on. And it's quite simple, but I heard that as you receive more intuition, as more of your own intuition arrives, your standards will also go up. Now, I've also been linking this to the way that we talk about the law of attraction. You'll often hear that, well, we don't attract what we want or we don't attract what we need. We attract what we believe or we attract what we are. And this really calls into question the nature of what belief actually is. We tend to think about belief in terms of our thoughts, like as if it's like a statement or a proposition that we hold, like I believe that Toronto is the capital of Ontario. But that's a very narrow form of belief. I feel that belief is kind of like this intermediary concept. What we're actually talking about in terms of the law of attraction anyway is the when feeling and action are really closely linked, it's because of a belief. So from this point of view, a belief is really kind of like the cognitive aspect of a feeling that you can act on, that you will act on, that you do act on, where a specific feeling state or a specific feeling integration, an integration of feeling leads you to a specific action, like a definite action, not just something you think about that you maybe will do, like that you dream about, like it's still kind of dissociated. But when you reach a certain kind of integration of feeling that it kind of compels you to a specific kind of action, then you do have an element of belief at work because you're literally, it becomes an ontological posit that you are accepting as a reality. And this goes through the heart and your will. And so this is the element where this is about the law of attraction, because it's not so much attraction as your own feeling state, your own ontological posit. So if you remember back from a few videos ago I did on some thoughts I was having about the nature of boundaries, and I started to get into these like metaphysical posits because it's really about it's really deep on an ontological level. Like a boundary is kind of saying here's something rather than nothing. And this is where the so-called law of attraction comes in, because again, it's not really attraction, it's more about belief, but on this level of the ontological posit, which is what you're doing by connecting the integrated feeling state with certain kinds of actions. So the long way around of saying this is, or that was the long way around of saying something like, spirit or the universe is going to respond to your most recent or your highest integrated feeling state. And again, because this would be or would involve the level of belief, it's exactly on the plane of where you're taking action. Like if you still kind of believe that you have another week to do this thing or another month, or if the belief is just like you believe that, okay, I don't have to do that this week, that's what you are setting into motion. That is the ontological posit. That is the standard that you're setting. And so the law of attraction slash belief, we kind of need a better name for it, I think, is just going to reflect that, because you're literally the one making the ontological posit and saying what is or isn't. But I think there's a dialogical element here, because it's not completely a solipsistic type of wow, I just believe that now everything is pink and, something like that. It's more like there's some kind of dialogical element involved, and maybe it is with just our higher self, where spirit or this dialogical connection knows when you've made this kind of ontological posit, like you've accepted, you've kind of like anchored in a new standard. So for example, you get an intuition, you get this like movement of heart intelligence, and you can feel it when you're anchoring it on a new level. When you have this new level, this new feeling integration state, and then you take action on that, spirit or your higher self or whatever the dialogical mechanism is definitely responds to that. Because if you've noticed, you take action on that, and then all of a sudden the right kinds of things start moving in the background, like the person who wasn't talking to you, or the job you didn't hear about, or there was delay, or whatever it was, right? All of a sudden now the background changes. And so again, this is just another way of saying that it's really important to act on your heart intelligence. Like, even more, like, belief is not cognitive. Like, just don't think about it primarily as cognitive, like these propositions or something. Belief is kind of, it's the integrated feeling state of your heart intelligence. And so when you get new heart intelligence, like, act on it. And that's what will put you into the dialogue that you need from the universe. That's how I'm thinking about this right now. Let me know in the comments, like, if this resonates with you, if it reminds you of something you've experienced. And yeah, I would love to hear. Thank you for watching, and I'll be back again.